I'm not impatient. What the fuck is... Hey, Brian.
Ryan, you need to just... This is a song you should listen to. Listen to this song.
It sounds more exciting than what it is.
Let's see how we can lose our next 3 listeners.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Let's try to work on our people skills.
Testicles 1 and 2. Welcome. You're in the meantime with me and Dave. This is episode, I don't even fucking know. It's like 45 or some shit now. I don't know. We did a bunch of episodes here around the Christmas time. Some good episodes, some good feedback and all that. Well, thank everybody. But yeah, now we're in 2021. Recording this, I don't know the exact, what is it? It's January 6th. We're recording this, but who knows when this will come out, probably in like a few days. This is basically a memorial episode, another memorial episode to a dear friend from the comedy community, a very well-loved and unusual guy who always... kind of the epitome of like I want to say having your heart in the right place, regardless of whatever your flaws and all that kind of stuff. And that guy is Frosty Nugs, James Phillips, who I used to joke saying his full name is Frosters Worthy Freeze Nugs, as he went by Nuggets. Frosters Worthy Freeze Nuggets, or Frosters Freeze Worthy Nuggets. Whatever, but Frosty Nugs is what he went by. One of the coolest dudes that kind of was very underappreciated, I want to say, by, and it's weird to explain, because he was a guy who, when I first met him, never expected to be friends with him. He was, the thing with him was I first saw him at open mics. Saw him kind of, do a lot of the usual staples of open mic stuff. And I'll be perfectly honest, I completely dismissed him. But I was wrong. Basically, from what I understand, he came from the East Coast. I don't know exactly where. He kind of came out of nowhere. I know he's pretty sure he's from the East Coast. I remember he became more notorious when he first got here. First you saw him around, he went by a weed name, so you thought and he sold, weed and other stuff. And didn't think anything bad of him, just a guy that I wasn't really like eager to get to know right away. He became notorious somewhat after he was stabbed from an incident in the Mission District in San Francisco. He was near fatally stabbed. Well, I wouldn't say stabbed, he was literally like cut. And he had surgery. I believe he died on the operating table too at some point. Came out of there with these massive scars. And when you see these photos on the internet, kind of made you, if you had any humanity at all, you're a little more endeared to him, even if you didn't know him, because, people kind of can't help but, kind of relate to survivors for whatever. I think it's a instinctive thing. And, so that was one thing that stood out about him right away. And then as time went on, because I don't remember exactly when I first met him, was that when one of my early impressions of him that was more positive was when a local notorious comedian of sorts, Chris Shapakazi, who's kind of like the bastard son of comedic personality Tony Clifton. He was very much a provocateur at open mics and what shows would dare book him. He came to my show in Livermore. I ran a weekly show in Livermore where I would have, kind of a acts that, it was a workout room showcase. So I would have a lot of people that were new or a little more rough around the edges sometimes, along with whoever else was, basically anybody who was interested. Most likely you could get a set there from me. So Chris, I had booked on it either to headline or feature or something. And he hadn't been doing comedy that much at that time. He was kind of drifting away from it. And he was driving at the time, which before he used to be a guy that would get rides, need rides. And now he was a guy that was driving all the time. And he ended up bringing Frosty Nugs I don't know if he told me or not, but he brought him. And I was like, yeah, I'll give Frosty a set. It's no problem. And and Frosty had a good set that night, as I remember. We had a nice small audience as usual. It's a very intimate room, and I think Chris saw the show going well, and I don't know why. Maybe he got cold feet or something, but at some point before Chris was about to go up, I remember seeing him too, because I was about to introduce him. He was in the room, he looked around, and he walked out. And I remember saying, "Hey, can somebody get Chris? It's his set. It's, he's up next." And I don't know where he took off to. And Chris basically bounced. He ditched his set, and he ditched Frosty Nugs. He left him there in Livermore, because and Frosty lived, I think, in Oakland. And here he was. He got a ride with Chris all the way to Livermore, and probably from Bart, but. He just left him there, and the thing was, Frosty wasn't even that mad. He wasn't even mad. He just was like, "Oh, I think Chris left me here," and I just remember thinking that I would be heated if somebody did that to me. But Frosty and all of his kind of I want to say his sweet nature and all of the scumbag worlds that he rolled in. Wasn't even pissed, it seemed like. I mean, he was probably pissed. He was like, "Oh man, what the fuck?" But he was over it pretty quickly, and we easily gave him a ride to Bart, and he was able to get to where he needed to go. I just thought that was pretty cool of him, that he didn't trash Chris or think, he was still cool with Chris when he saw him the next time. So that was one impression of him early, and then I became better friends with them through because he would invite me to do his shows in his show at Bricks 581, and I would start to I trusted both his comedy, his set that he would do, and he was always generous, and that which you don't get a lot of in our comedy scene, and so I got to know him through doing his mic, and then I would book him on my shows. I was one of the few people that booked him. He would always tell me. And then the next time I saw him, I believe the last time I might have seen him in person, if I'm not mistaken, was in Reno in 2019. In September of 2019, I was hosting a week for a headliner out there at this place, the Pioneer Underground. And it's a weird setup type of show, with the weird format and all that. And but I was doing a good job with it, and the booker guy liked me and all that stuff. So things were going okay out there. And of all people to surprise me on the last night of the shows, Frosty Nugs messages me like, "Hey, I'm in Reno. Hey, where's this place? Where's this Pioneer Underground?" He might have even been there already before he was like, "I'm at the Pioneer. What's going on with these shows?" or something. I don't even remember exactly. And I was like, "Holy shit, what are you doing out here?" And I guess he was checking out the scene out there. He was just kind of disillusioned and wanted to see possibilities. Maybe he was thinking of moving there. And so I couldn't get him a guest set because it was a guy I was new to or whatever, but it was still just something to, it was cool to see him. And we took some pictures after the show, and it was just good seeing a familiar face of somebody. He's a dude that I was happy to see, and I would have vouched for him to get him a guest set on the show if I had that kind of leverage or anything, because he was a funny dude. And he was funnier than most of the guys that were on that lineup that night. So that's just, and so anyways, so I got some of his characters on this show that are, a couple of them maybe rub people the wrong way, but they're all people that I know are very representative of his mic. And I got some people dropping in I got some guests throwing in a couple videos here as to pay tribute as well, to kind of just hopefully just have a nice little time capsule here to remember our dear friend and comic, James Frosty Nugs Phillips. And he will be missed, and I love him dearly. Thanks. And this episode's dedicated to this dude. Here's here's our first guest joining us right now, Mr. Eric Newton.
Oh yeah, right on, man. How you doing, dude?
Excellent. About yourself?
Yeah, doing all right, man. Not too bad.
Right on. Here's, I think Warhol's here now too. He's said he was trying to join us. Oh, hang on. I got to leave it to Luke to have a required passcode. Welcome, Warhol. Good to see you, man.
Yo.
Hello. And as I started recording this, explaining that Frosty Nugs, this is a memorial to our good friend to the comedy community and whatnot, Frosty Nugs. And the cool thing is having these guys all be a part. There he is. Yep, there he is. There's a picture of him. That's me and him. As soon as Luke gets here as well. But introduce yourselves. Eric, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'll see Luke when you get. All right.
Yeah, here he is. He just showed up. So, Eric, who the hell are you?
What's up, man? Eric Newton. Longtime friend of me and Dave. We used to play in Bad Touch. Grew up in Newark together. It's all very, very, very old school homies, and then also a dear friend of the recently deceased. I think I'm the only person that ever calls him Jamie. I always call him Jamie all the time.
You call him Jamie? No shit.
Yeah.
Nobody calls
Like
him
people
Jamie.
look, some people are like, who are you talking about? I'm like, dude, you running this show. But yeah, for a friend of Frost, dear friend of Frosty's. He used to give me shows, all the stuff he would do, and let me host sometimes. And I was here to tell him thank you, and we're sad that he's gone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Warhol, who the hell are you, man?
Who am I? Warhol Kaufman. I've been talking to my grandmother today because she's in DC.
Yeah.
And I told her that she was supposed to keep order, and she's failing. And she was like, "No, they don't let me go out anymore."
Right on.
Also, I guess I used to do stand up, and I'm working on a movie or a series or something.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Luke?
Well, Luke, is your audio working? I don't think your audio's
Can
working.
you hear me? I can hear y'all.
I can hear you now. Okay, no, now it's working.
Damn. For sure. What's up with y'all?
Right on. It's a little
What up,
delayed, Luke, but yeah. Who are you, Luke?
I'm a human being. White guy.
Luke is white.
Expert fingernail clipper and jaywalker. And I pride myself on my clean ears. That good enough?
Fine. Yeah, it's good, man. I think everybody can tell from just from the collection. Anybody who watches this show, I got 20 to 30 regular viewers, and then whoever else just
People watch.
Yeah, they watch.
Oh, that's
every now
20
and
to
then.
30. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's.
All right.
I mean, yeah, these days. But no, it's. But if you can just tell from the collection of people that are going to be on this, that Frosty Nugs kind of was a dude. I was just explaining my first impression of him when I saw him. I used to see him at Mike's. He was one of these dudes with a nickname. I'm a guy with a nickname, but at the same time, I know how people just write you off right away, and I was no different. I'm like, oh great, yeah, he's a weed guy. He names himself after weed, and then I even would. I think he would always be nice to me, but I just kind of avoided him. And then it wasn't until after I got sober, and I remember I saw him. We were doing there was a show at a place that it's a sandwich shop in Ocean Beach area, Mike Spiegelman's show.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out of there.
Yeah, I imagine Warhol's probably done it, and it was a cool. It's a place where you go to bomb to get a half to a full free sandwich. That's the whole point of it. You can also do you can be funny and have fun with it, but it's not.
The sandwiches are pretty good.
Yeah, the sandwiches were the only reason to go there, and so I've been there. I was there a few times. We were there doing a set there before going somewhere else, and Frosty was on the show. I was surprised to see him there, and that was the first time he got laughs to 3 people, and he had jokes, and that was the first time I saw him where I paid attention, because my last impression of him was on a night where everybody was having a coke bender at some all-night party I was stuck at. I was sober. I wasn't even doing coke. I was a little over a year sober, and I just got stuck. It was this guy Andrew Roberts. Do you remember Andrew Roberts? I think you might have met him, Eric. He was an Australian dude, white guy.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
And then Warhol, you showed up. I think after Andrew left, or Andrew might have still been around. He was an angry Australian dude. He was an angry.
He was gone.
Yeah,
I think
he ended up having his mom couldn't flip his bills anymore, so he had to move back to Australia. And yeah, Luke, you came along after that fact. So then I saw him be funny there, and then after that he started. He would invite me
That's
to try.
a comical. T.
Well, no, it's once you. Oh yeah, what's his
The
T?
comically large. You look like edgy pie. I'm sorry. Continue.
No problem. That's no, believe me. So the thing is you guys all know each other from Frosty's mic because you ended up starting probably one of the more popular open mics. I would say when I say popular, I mean it's like it's a different kind of crowd that goes there, which is Bricks 581. I think that's the number.
Yep.
Yeah.
I met Eric there.
Yeah, I thought.
Well, it was consistent. You know, it was consistent and it was
I was gonna say.
accessible.
Yeah, and it was late. It was the late.
And it was late.
It was
and
the
it
late
went long.
Wednesday night hangout.
And you could get a 20-minute set if you just distracted Frosty the right way.
If there
Bring
were
a big titty friend and you could get 20 minutes because he'll forget.
If there were not that many people there, yeah, totally. So let's go down because yeah, I met Luke there. Luke was an audience member there before he started doing stand up. You weren't doing stand up.
I was doing stand up before that. I met Warhol at technically stand up, but I met Warhol at the Stork Club, which is where I first met Frosty.
Oh yeah, the pedophile club.
Yes.
Because the pedophile club. That's what there was a guy that worked there who had a record, but
He was the owner.
He wasn't the owner. He was like that's everybody.
He's the owner. It's his family. It's a family establishment.
It's a family, but no, he wasn't the main. Everybody thought he was the owner. He was like the guy who barked at everybody or whatever. Is that old ball?
Fair enough. He looked like a pirate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There. That's a weird.
Yeah, but Bricks was hella fun. It was a great place to do extracurriculars.
Yeah,
You get heckled by a train, New York style.
Oh yeah, definitely. We definitely made good use of both the men and the women's bathroom there.
Were they even separated? It was just two bathrooms, right?
Yeah, there was. It said men.
Yeah, at some point they gave up on the gender situation.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
You can tell by smell. That was the difference.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ivy. So working in San Francisco and living in the East Bay, whenever I would come back home, if it was on a Wednesday night, I would always make an effort to swing by Frosty Nugs' mic because I knew that it was always going to be a guaranteed good time. So regardless of whether any of us actually worked out material was honestly kind of irrelevant. He created the kind of environment where comedians from all walks of life and all levels of expertise all felt comfortable enough to kind of just come, enjoy the food and hang out and be with each other. And it was cool. Like, it was never boring. One time I was washing my hands in the one bathroom that was there. And if there was more than one, y'all are fired for not telling me. And I was washing my hands and Frosty came into the bathroom while I was in there and locked the door behind him. And I gave him this look like, you serious right now? And he held up his hand and was just like, I'm not trying to fuck you. Darn. He held up a baggie. Anyway, I wasn't sure if I should tell this story because the story ends with us doing drugs. But Frosty was a generous guy, like a good guy with a good heart. He treated my kid nice. The one time that I had a gig and he was there, he actually tried to swear in the opposite direction of where Jacob was sitting before I told him, like, yo, he has headphones on. He could give a fuck what you're talking about. So he was a positive one. I think he should have had more credit for what he did for the East Bay folks than he ever did. And we'll miss him.
Yeah, and I think I hosted a couple times there. Not because I think I was just the only person that would do it, and Frosty was probably incapacitated or something. He was like, "Luke, fucking go host," you know. But it was a good introduction to hosting for me, you know.
Because when he started it, I met you there, and you kept.
I thought you said when he snorted it.
No, when he started doing Bricks, I met you there at like some of the early ones, and you kept trying to spit bars at me like I gave a fuck, and that's all. That's what I remember of you. I didn't know if you did.
Trying to battle.
I thought you were an audience member, and
Yeah.
but you were funny.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm fucked up. I'll fucking freestyle battle a fucking lawn chair. You know what I'm saying?
You like, I got bars, man. I'm like, I don't care, but all right. I mean, I'm not leaving this conversation. So Warhol, I guess, what was your first encounter with Frosty?
Bust out a piano. So I guess this is kind of a weird, irrelevant story. I'll keep it quick, but I was running like roast battles at Bricks but not well or anything. It was like I was just trying to book any show in any room, and like so we did a couple roast battles, but the chick who owned Bricks tried to push the show upstairs. So I called up Jade and I was like, "Hey Jade, you want to help me out?" And so we turned it into like an ADA complaint where they had to put us downstairs. And then the karaoke guy, she tried to get revenge by being like, "Well, you have to do it while karaoke happens." So I talked to the karaoke guy and we just like used his setup. And then that didn't work out so well. So then I remember Frosty came in and then he started doing it. And she was like really excited to have a reason to be like, "Fuck you" to me. And like Frosty had a relationship with her. And so like they started building their show. And then he just started feeding people. So people showed up because he would just bring so much goddamn, like I don't even really understand
those the
how
Puerto
his
Rican
financials worked out, but I know.
Funny, when you mentioned Jade, I wanted to specify too. Jade's in a wheelchair because not everybody knows who Jade is who watches.
Just another disabled entertainer.
Another disabled entertainer. She has a mechanized wheelchair.
She's also been in Forbes and has now been in a trauma film.
Yeah,
she's one of the most famous people in the scene now.
She's getting there. We've had her on. Nina G and I, we do disability shows, and we've had her on. She kills every time on it. She hates Zoom.
So a few years ago, Frosty got stabbed in the heart. And so I went to go visit him in the ICU. I brought him a package of artisanal gold-covered edibles. And he was very delighted. And he ate an edible, and then he reached into his bloody heart dressings and he pulled out a vape pen and he toked it right there in the middle of the ICU. And then a couple years later, I was at Bricks and I was heartbroken over something and I was rubbing my tongue against another person's tongue when all of a sudden Frosty just barged through the door. He's covered in multicolored balloons and they're all filled with nitrous, and that was the first time I ever tried nitrous, but I didn't feel anything, so I told that to Frosty, so he gave me these gummies that were covered in LSD, and that was the first time I ever tried LSD, and I was on fire. So that was that. And then a few years later, then the coronavirus hit and we're all in coronavirus pandemic, and Frosty books me for his backyard show live. Tickets were being sold. He booked me for 4 nights in a row. It was the most consecutive booking I'd ever gotten in my whole career. And so I get there, the first 3 nights, there were maybe about 5 people each night. Quarter of the box office sold out. It was a total flop. It was a terrible show. Headliners were bombing. And then by the 4th night, all his equipment got stolen. But he paid me $200, and that was the most money I'd gotten paid for a gig that whole year. So, and then he died, and that was a bummer. He was a really nice guy. I liked running into him. He was good energy.
Eric, how did you meet Frosty?
How I met Frosty was I had been doing stand up mostly only like in SF, and I was like, I wanted to find some more places in Oakland. So at first I was going to this place Penelope. It was on Wednesday nights as well, or it was like earlier on Wednesday night, like 7 o'clock, maybe 8. I don't know.
By the Popeyes.
Yeah, but people there would be like, oh, there's this place in walking distance, Bricks, that they might go late, so you kind of try to do 2 sets. Eventually, that's how I got introduced to Bricks. And the first time I went, it was hella rainy that night, and Frosty wasn't there. I didn't know he ran. I didn't know it was his show. So some other lady was hosting that night, and I didn't go up, and I didn't really know about it, but I decided to go back. And I think Frosty might have been hosting that time, and then. Yeah, we just started talking. I started going every single fucking week, and we became friends that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's not too many places where I enjoyed hanging out. Whether it's a show or whatever, and Bricks was one of the few places where I would actually enjoy hanging there, and that's I think more of a credit to kind of Frosty's kind of the thing about him, because he was one of the people where everybody kind of had their impression of him in the local comedy community, and most of those impressions were from people that didn't even know him. Like, people heard about him,
including me, even for the most part.
Well, again, when you hear
at the beginning,
again, the same thing. So I understand from like the stage name bullshit, but when it comes to like when you meet somebody, and then again, my association with them before.
Well, me and Dave, dude, like I had never seen Frosty do a set until your show in Livermore.
That's right. Yeah,
like,
okay.
That was the first one I actually saw him where he wasn't hosting, and so he was pretty sober, and he pretty much crushed for like 16 or 20 minutes, and I was in and out, trying to get food, but every time I came back into the room, he was just slaying, and it was like I'd never heard him do material ever before.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like Luke's kind of a similar person.
I think I was at that show.
Yeah, because the funny thing about that's right. You kicked it off. I think you might have even kicked it off.
It was impressive. Yeah.
Because one of the things that I liked about Bricks and what the kind of environment there's rooms. Warhol, you're kind of one of these guys where you run a room where I want to say like
chaos. It's a chaos room.
Well, it's a chaos room, but I want to say like these are places where if you're brand new, you can start. If you've been around for a while, you might get to do more time. They're the room,
and
with
Bricks too. And with Delirium, it's like you're more likely to get people of color in the audience. It's not just going to be techies, people who are new to San Francisco, white people. Yeah. It's like people who are kind of like ingrained in the fabric of the Bay a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, a little more rough around the edges kind of thing. So,
Did you ever do Dorsey's Locker?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I was
that's that kind of vibe too. It's like it's not there to coddle you, but you can do your time if you want.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Frosty started like, long after Bricks was already an established thing. For a little while, he was doing this show in SF at the Brick House. And I remember he brought me on to the opening show, the first show for that one. And then what was tight about that is like, weeks would go on and I wouldn't be on the bill, but I would just go to hang out and someone would always not show up. He's like, "Dude, can you go up? Can you go up? Can you go up?" And so I don't know. Like I just feel like as far as like, I don't hella grind hard at comedy like most people. But it's when I do try, Frosty was always the person that gave me the most like opportunities, and that's why I'd always want to keep trying. Where like a lot of times you get shut down, a lot of times you're like, "Well, fuck, dude. Like I know I'm funny what's happening, but anyway." Frosty would like he would give people chances and like kind of uplift them, like and it was a lot of time. A lot of people are and still are doing it and they're hella funny, and it's because guys like him that have open rooms like that were like inviting for us type of comedians. You know what I'm saying? That's what I always loved about his shows. Yeah.
He's good about the thing about it is like he embraced a lot more of like kind of. I guess the best word, outcasts.
Yeah.
Degenerate, let's be honest.
And it was a smoker's room. So you could smoke,
he was doing
Me and Dave, you had the Groucho Marx to go out there and shit.
I always would, yeah. I was going to smoke tonight, but it's been raining off and on outside. But no, but the other thing is too, he would reach out to good comics too, and occasionally he would get like I mean, when I say good, I don't mean I mean good like in the sense of like the local. Everybody blowing smoke up their own ass kind of scene.
Well, and he would pay you $1, Like
here's the thing. That's how I used to start off with tips. But then here's the other thing about Frosty that people got really twisted. Frosty would always pay you. If he told you you're getting paid $20, you're getting $20.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might take him a few weeks. Sometimes it might take him, whatever. But
sometimes it might be in not dollars.
Yeah.
if that was your preference,
pay you in liquid form, gas or powder, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I knew him well enough to know that he was always good for his word, and that's the thing. It's like, but there were comics.
And if he didn't remember, he would take your word for it.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
And that's what I think people that knew him best understood about him. And then the other fact is that when he was running Bricks, when he started, he was just doing. I remember the tip jar thing was the thing per comic, and it was best to get there early if you were and to be on it early as possible when people had their most money.
And
Luke,
if you wanted to be heard at all.
yeah, and Luke would be tipping. I remember when Luke used to tip.
Oh, back when Luke. All right.
When he was still spitting bars at me.
The least I could do for interrupting everybody's.
That's very thoughtful. But
But honestly, Luke, you really you held it down like glue. Like when someone needed to step up, you would definitely like step in and keep it moving.
Yeah.
It is. I really think there is a value to those rooms where you like someone's listening, but you feel like you're alone. You know, maybe there's some people at the bar who can hear you, but you can't see them, and so it gives people a chance to get a little bit looser.
Yeah,
you know,
it creates a fun environment. It creates a conversation. Even though,
I think people learn from that. You know, because
yeah.
if you're just doing your best jokes all the time, then you practice your best jokes. But if you get up and you know you're gonna bomb, it kind of frees a person up to figure out what the other skills are.
or just you go there to have fun and talk. And like Luke, that was the thing. You used to respond, and then after a while, you're also now you're doing sets. And then not only that, kind of similar to my encounter with Frosty is then I saw you do actual jokes, and then next thing you know, it's like you were like, "Hey, book me on a show," and I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. I can book you on. I have my rooms that I'll book you on." And you would do well. So
I got a couple jokes.
Yeah,
dude. The thing with Luke for me is like, I would hear him do a set, and in 5 minutes he would do like 3 jokes, but one of them would be like the best joke I heard that week, and then the next week he wouldn't remember that he said it or did it, and then years would pass, and then I hear it on TV, and I'm like, "Oh, Luke,
Yeah,
you said that first."
Yeah, Bill Burr stole one of my jokes.
Which one is that?
I don't know about that.
The one about where he was like a male feminist wearing a shirt, and that's like a white person wearing a shirt that says this is what a black panther
is that
looks
when that limousine rolled up and Bill Burr got out and threw you against the wall and was like, "Give me that joke"?
Yeah,
that's exactly right. You were there. Yep, that's what happened.
Give me that
That's
joke.
actually. Frosty was
robbed me.
there.
Man, getting jacked
yeah.
by white dudes for jokes. Nice job, Luke.
I just want to say, let's get revenge. Let's all steal a Mencia joke.
And that means it's stolen twice. I mean, that's why you want to. You get
Twice as nice.
third hand.
There's public domain at this point.
Just for irony. All right. Anyway.
So, but no, one thing again. So Frosty ended up then having food made, the wings.
God damn, the wings, the mac and cheese. He would bring in Domino's.
I'm not sure what his deal was, how the food
and the 7-Eleven straws,
you would get
everything.
pizza when there wasn't the wings.
I remember when he had that job delivering food. It was like, you know, like I don't know, like DoorDash something. He would just find ways to get all the extra food and bring it to breaks. Like he made sure like on Wednesday nights.
Oh, you know what he said?
And yeah, he bring hella different grub, blood. Like that was
no, he would go as a a nonprofit and say like I'm feeding the homeless and get food from places and then come and bring it to the comics.
That sounds totally like what he would do.
To be fair, feeding the homeless and feeding comics.
Yeah.
I know there were definitely times where he paid out of pocket, no doubt. For what he was
out
doing.
Out of pocket or out of nose.
Yeah.
And he would bring the vegan options, you know?
Yeah. Because the man definitely used to be a businessman of sorts, and I know he funded some aspects of things of that, but that wasn't what his overall thing was. And if anything, I think it was more of a that's what always stood out to me was the guy was fun to be around, even when he was kind of if he was hammered or whatever. He created a fun environment for that wasn't judgmental.
He was consistent and he was having fun.
Yeah,
and even though this episode won't reflect it, women were always welcome there.
Hi, Frosty, or whoever is watching this video. For those of you who don't know, my name is Selena, and I met Frosty, or James Phillips, if we're being respectful, at the mic that he was hosting a while ago, a few years ago, at Bricks 581 in Oakland, and he was a friend of mine that really impacted my life, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have stuck with comedy for as long as I did. And comedy was a huge saving grace in my life. And so, in a way, he was too. I know that there's a lot of people that I guess maybe wouldn't see him as a saving grace in some ways, but he truly was like an angel among us. You know, I don't really have a particular story to say about Frosty. There's actually like a lot, and there wasn't like one good one that I could think of or pick to really like, I don't know, that like really resonated with me. I think it just all comes together as he was important. He was an important person that was neglected in a lot of ways and taken advantage of in a lot of ways. Not that many people are as genuinely good-hearted as he was. He literally went out of his way to make sure people felt seen and heard and taken care of. That included his finances from his own pocket. And not a lot of people do that, even if they did have the money to do that. So I guess what I would say to Frosty is, you know, a lot of us, I think everyone really hopes in life that they are either, you know, a good person, a decent person, and they did some good in this world, or at the very least unforgettable. And Frosty, I think you truly succeeded in both of those accounts. You were an absolutely amazing person, and you were kind when no one even asked you to be. And you were absolutely an unforgettable personality in person. So I think you lived your life as best as you could with the cards you were dealt. And in the grand scheme of things, you did a really good job at being you. And I'm so thankful to have been a part of that for the years that we known each other and, you know, joked around and hung out. And so thank you. And I miss you. And this death is still a little hard on me. But I think we will see each other again, regardless of what anyone else believes. And I want to say that I miss my other comedian friends too. I miss everyone. I miss the vibe. I miss doing comedy. I miss it all. But aside from comedy, there's so much more to life, and there's so much more to this. So just, I love you, Frosty, and cheers to you. I quit drinking, but here's a shot of Jameson, which is our favorite whiskey, and we used to drink it all the time together. And so I don't think I could ever drink Jameson without you again, or go to Bricks without thinking about the late night mic. So cheers to you, man. Cheers. Love you. All right. Well, bye, everyone. Love you guys, too. And be good. Take care of each other. And just remember, you're unforgettable, too.
But no, if anything, though, the funny thing about Frosty, because he would always keep saying those, "Hey, man, tell women comics to come." And I'm like, I think they know. I think they're, you know, I think
tell women to come. I love women. Bring them here.
But the funny thing about it is, with all of with all the Bay Area culture, I know I used to know a new female comic who was pretty uptight, and she even could pick up that he was like throwing a vibe at her while he had a girlfriend. But even she.
Well, he wasn't subtle. He was very.
I think it was
the thing about Frosty is it was, from what I hear, it seemed harmless because it was so transparent. It was like,
yeah,
so
exactly.
Do you want if you want to sleep with me? I'm open.
Game. Yeah,
to it. If not, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine too. And that's what I mean is like he ended up. What's funny is for somebody he didn't come across as a agenda driven creep. You know, he wasn't.
Yeah, less of a creeper and more of a perv.
Yeah, honest, just open.
He was an authentic perv.
And I think we all
Good
remember
old-fashioned
he
perf.
had a hot girlfriend there for a minute. That one blonde, I remember, because there were all kinds of girls that were there that were at his shows I remember he had his birthday party, and he had a lot of friends that were all. So that's why it's like the comedy community itself is way more the creepy side of all this shit most of the time, because everybody's in their fucking heads and self-centered and all this kind of shit. And
people try to disguise themselves.
well, that too. There's wolves in sheep's clothing, and then there's people that aren't even aware that they're wolves.
Yeah, and
Sheep
the worst,
and
sheep in
wolf
wolves'
clothing,
clothing, and
wolves
those
in
sheep
wolves'
get
clothing.
raped, and you didn't see it coming.
Yeah, so it's a lot of creepy shit. But that was what's funny about Bricks being and yeah, because he was running shows at Stork before Bricks came along. I remember doing that a couple times. So beyond that, I guess we'll go around. Thoughts? Let's see from you guys.
I mean, I've been telling people, when Frosty would let me host, like you said, it is because he physically probably couldn't host. It was because I was a good host, but because of that, it gave me the confidence to start my own show eventually. And it was doing pretty good, until everyone says that, until COVID, but that's really what happened, and that's the only reason I don't still do that show. And I remember, but here's the thing. I love Frosty to death, but to tell the truth about him, he was a knucklehead, hella much. And he wanted me to be a part of his last show, so he was trying to start this. First of all, he first told me it was going to be a podcast, then it turned into a drive-in show.
Yeah,
and dude, it was it's the ridiculous amount of equipment he wanted to get for this show. I was like, dude, this show won't work, dude. Just get your projector and your PA, and that's it. He's like, no, dude, I got these stages. I got a tent. I got a blow up tent for the green room. I'm like, but that's how he was. He always wanted to be this is a professional show. This is no matter what the stage was, he was like, I want this to be amazing. And he had such a drive and such a genuine passion for comedy that was fucking awesome. And I think it'll be missed. And
he got kicked out of that apartment for the cause, for trying to put that show on.
The Unicorn Show.
The weekly canceled Unicorn Show. That was, I think they had one show, one or two shows.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of.
I was booked for it, but it didn't make it that far.
It happened for 2.5 weeks, I think. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't a lot of audience. He was trying to charge $72 for 4 tiny chairs.
Kabir Singh was on the first one when he told me what it was, and I was like, and he told me that he gave Kabir a guarantee of $400. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? What are you thinking? The guy will probably do it for way less because the situation, but that's the way he was.
Hi, my name is John Garside, and more commonly Big British John. And I've known Frosty for a couple of years, 3 years, that I've been performing in the Bay Area, and he's one of the good ones. And I just wanted to share a short story, my last 2 interactions with him. And so I'd done his showcase, and a couple of takeaways. All the comics got fed, which was nice. And they got paid, which isn't always the way. I personally always decline payment because I sold out to a corporate lifestyle many years ago. And my fellow comedians need the cash more than I do. Well, we ummed and ahed about it, and he said, fine. I saw him 10 days or so, I think, before he passed, at Patrick Ford's place at the Alameda Comedy Club. And he tried to give me the money again. And it speaks to him, to the generosity. Oakland lost a good guy. There aren't enough Frosties in this world, let alone the Bay Area. And so it was lovely to be at his memorial at New Year's and to spend time with the people he loved and who loved him. And not everybody gets that said about them.
And welcoming us or joining us right now, he's you guys know him. I hope you love him. Kiki over there. Kiki Ochoa.
Yo.
What up?
What up?
Is your mic working, Kiki?
Yeah.
All right, good. So why don't we introduce yourself, Kiki? Who are you while you're eating your dinner?
He did a lot.
Well,
I mean, you can his unicorn show if you want. You could.
I don't know. I'm from the
Hey,
East Bay.
you got anything to say about Frosty?
Do comedy all throughout the East Bay, North Bay, West Bay when they have shows, because the West Bay is not known for doing shows. But the South Bay, and I'm what's up, Playboy?
Okay.
And I did shows with Frosty, rest in peace. I didn't know that was kind of a little bit shocking to me. He was so young. He was what, 43, 44?
Yeah, he's like my age. Yeah, 44.
Yeah, very young guy, man. I can't believe it. I was like, when you posted him in there, I was like, what? I was like, no, this can't be, man. So, yeah, it was just something unexpected, you know. I mean, that was, you know, without saying, you know, enjoy your last meal, enjoy your last breath, because I don't know, man. I'm just grateful that I'm eating some delicious, authentic Chinese food from Panda Express.
Great, we got a commercial now. Just like a real Frosty event right here. You know, I mean, you'd be endorsing some food from someplace. Pancake, we've got Pancake joining us here. Right now. What's up, sir? How are you doing?
Hello. Happy New Year.
Yes, sir.
As happy as it can be under the circumstances here.
Chapter 13.
Frosty was high on life.
Exclusively.
I've only known him a little while, but they were very intense. And instances. And who is this going out to?
It'll be on YouTube, but I'm getting the feeling
20 to 30 people.
I think the intensity is really more on your side there, Pancake. So, just saying.
The intensity.
I'm getting tense right now.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay, well,
not sure if the intensity was on Frosty's side. So just to.
Well, they were.
I remember nights after breaks and like me, you like Pancake, Frosty. We go to what's that place on Legionnaire. No, not the Legionnaire, but what's it called? With the orange with the grapefruit drinks. What's that joint called?
The little tiny bar.
Yeah, blood. Anyway, those nights were intense, bro. Like just getting there from breaks to there, it's like 4 blocks go downtown, and those were the most intense car rides I ever had in my life, bro.
Yeah, when he was driving.
So Telegraph, right by where Telegraph meets Broadway.
And
yeah. The Dutch name.
Wait, what is
big stage? I forget what it's called though.
Yeah. Oh, Van Cleef. Yeah,
Van Cleef. I was gonna say, yeah.
Dude, we go there after breaks nights, and it'd already be like 1, and like it was always be an adventure. I was like, if you guys are going, I'm going, because that shit would always be hella fun, dude.
Oh yeah,
man.
Yo, that motherfucker, dude. You know what? I just want to say this because Luke dropped some knowledge at the one memorial that I was at, like. I straight up also talked to Frosty a week before, and he was like, yeah, I think I'm done. I think I'm really, I think I'm out. I'm out of moves. And it was like, I talked to a lot of people who say a lot of shit, and I've literally talked like people down from suicide. That wasn't his deal. Like, I blame the U.S. government 100% for Frosty's death. Like, from what I heard, he went to the emergency room and was turned away. No. But straight up a week before, he was like, yeah, I think I'm out of energy. And I was like, dude, I feel you too. You know what I mean?
He said that every time I saw him. He's like, I got about a week left. Oh. I didn't really take it seriously, but he was right that time.
He's a prophet.
Well,
modern day.
Well, you bet on it enough, yeah, it might come in. But,
Double down. Double down.
you know, but no, it's one of those things. It's just sad because I wish I talked to him a week before, because I'm one of those people that he never struck me as someone who was completely down on himself so much as just also talking to me about what, you know, because he was definitely, you know, I remember he would ask me like, why am I not getting booked? You know, why are you the only person who books me, Dave? And I'm like,
But also, if he was booked, he'd never remembered.
Well, part of the thing is, I would point out, I said, there's a certain thing, like if you're serious about something, they would see you people would see you doing, you know, I don't know, it's kind of, I can't explain it. I just said,
he could produce like no one else.
Exactly. Well, that's what he did.
Because he was hustling, so he couldn't go everywhere.
I kept telling him, like, look, do your thing to the best of your ability. Don't worry about what any of these fucking people think of you. Like, create. And that's, you know, I think that's what sucks is that he could have, I told him, like, you very easily could make this financially doable so you're not paying out of pocket the whole time.
Are there videos? Are there like some decent quality Frosty set videos?
I never saw any of the footage he filmed at Bricks.
I never saw shit either. It'd be interesting to see if we could track down like a decent Frosty video.
Me and my girl have footage of him, and like some of the sets are hella funny. Like he did really well.
Or like,
I'll share that.
I guess there's Mutiny sets.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like my last thing I want to say about Frosty is like one thing I feel kind of guilty about. I hadn't been talking to him. Like at one point in time, I would see him every day, like seriously every day of the week. And I changed lifestyles. You know, I don't really do all the things I was involved in anymore.
I gave my virginity to Frosty,
and because of that was like one of the reasons I kind of stopped
Frosty
daily. And I feel hella bad that now I don't have a chance to talk to him at all anymore. You know, I was like something dumb like that. I should have still been reaching out and
just pray to him, because wherever he is, he's stuck. I know that.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Though.
Yeah, he's in another brick. He's in some kind of bricks where there's a killer party. He's probably, you know, like, man, I should be up in heaven, but you know.
I mean, the dopest after parties are in Hades, though.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be running a kick-ass place wherever he's at. He's a good dude.
Producing an open mic in Purgatory and shit.
Yeah, something like that. Where they got the good. He'll be playing Megadeth. You know, just lots of Megadeth. That was the thing I liked about him, is he played. He was into a lot of the music that I liked, and he still liked the music I stopped liking years ago. Kiki, what story? Do you have a favorite Frosty story? Because we got to wrap this up in a few minutes here.
Oh man, but this is like, because I met him at the brainwash, and
we got to turn it the other way.
Then like a few months after I met him, I left the brainwash. This is like around the summertime, like a few months before he got stabbed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going into Subway to get a sandwich, and then he's grabbing soda from the soda machine, and I'm ordering. So he's like behind me, like next to me, a few feet away, and there was a lady. She was out of her mind, right? Like she must have been either really mentally ill, or she was just trying to get some like money for heroin or whatever. And then she said something to him, and they're like, no, sorry. And then she went up to him and like bumped into him, and he looks at the guy at the counter, he's like, hey, if you don't get this bitch out of my face, I'm gonna smack that bitch. And he's looking at him like, hey, yo, he's like, oh, what's that? He said, what's up? To be like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? I'm like, you're like,
very heartwarming story to end on. What about you, Luke? What are any final thoughts there from you?
I don't know. I was talking to him about he wanted to start an app, like a Uber for comedy app, where you would hit up the app.
Oh shit!
And you could just like we want a comedy show at this location at this time, and then whoever was like, you know, on the app, we would hit up whatever comedians and put together a show. And that was his idea for an app. I don't think that's a bad idea.
There was a guy that tried to do that already.
Not right now, but even still now.
there was a guy who was trying to do that. He kept posting on the Barry Comedy Network. He had me on a list of people, and yeah, that shit didn't fly.
You have a pickup truck? And
Warhol.
You have to have
I enjoyed talking about it with him anyway.
Warhol, last thoughts. We only got a couple minutes left. What do you got?
Honestly, I just think that in honor of Frosty, everyone should crack open a Pepsi.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Eric, last thoughts.
I miss that dude. I'm still friends with like his super close friends, so we talk about him in text and we miss him. And yeah, man. Hopefully,
his enemies, so we talk shit about him.
Hopefully, I'll meet someone similar to Frosty again in my life. Maybe he'll be reincarnated as another producer, and he'll get me on some shows and shit, and it'll be lit once again.
Yeah, he'll be very missed. Love you, Frosty, wherever you are. James Phillips,
Yeah.
thanks guys for doing this.
Thank you for having us, bro.
I'll let you know when the episode's uploaded. Right on, guys.
Right on, man.
Thank you.
For sure.